but it was recently announced that the United States women's national team will play 2 matches in Europe in October. And one of the ones that caught headlines was against England because the US have scheduled, and it's tentative, scheduled a match against the Lionesses at Wembley Stadium for Friday, October 7th. Exciting, right? Everyone saw this, and the energy around it was simply yes. That is what audiences would like to see. And I love that. I love the energy around it. But within it, we're talking about World Cup qualifiers. We're talking about teams that have already sort of punched their ticket. England is not one of those teams yet. And because of this, because there is still World Cup qualifying that is taking place for teams in Europe, in the event that England are unable to pick up a result against Austria specifically, because they're within the same Group D, they will have to play a 2-legged playoff in October. So there's a little bit of what ifs in this announcement, and it was noted within it that in the event there is going to be a different type of match that England has to play in October, that both US Soccer and the FA will work together to ensure that there is a rescheduled date for both of these teams to go head to head.
I love this announcement. There's definitely a bit of qualifiers that need to happen in order for this match to actually come to fruition. But after England won the Euros and it was at Wembley, the Lionesses' Twitter account actually tweeted out, "Hey, anyone want to see us back at Wembley later this year?" And the U.S. women's national team Twitter quote tweeted that and just said, "Hey." So there's a little bit of suspicion before they actually dropped this announcement. But this is huge. And it's also coupled with the announcement that the United States will be in Europe playing 2 friendlies over this October window. They've already made their announcement for the September friendlies. They're going to be playing Nigeria in the United States. One of those games will be in Kansas City, the other one in Washington, D.C. And a lot of the talk from fans, we see it when we go live and people join in the chat, is that they want to see the United States women's national team against different competition, against tougher competition, against European competition. Well, the calls have been answered, because I think the U.S. versus England matchup is a huge one. The last time these two teams played each other was in 2020 during the She Believes Cup. Before that, it was in the World Cup in 2019, and the United States coming out victorious in both of those. But now we're seeing a different side from England, and they're riding high on this Euros win at home against Germany in overtime. So now to have this announcement is tremendous, and that the U.S. will also play another match in Europe, that opposition and venue to be announced at a later date. But Vlatko Adanovsky even taking note of this announcement against England, saying that this is exactly the kind of match that the U.S. needs at exactly the right time in terms of World Cup preparation, so that we can test ourselves. The United States can get a test. Some of these younger players can see different competition outside of CONCACAF, outside of the friendlies that they've played on home soil. Also, this game being at Wembley, we just saw a record-breaking attendance for the Euros, and not sure if we'll get that same kind of attendance record for this friendly, but it's something that will help these younger players rostered for the U.S. in playing in a away stadium in front of fans that are not all cheering for them against really tough English competition. I love this. I'm so hyped for it. October 7th cannot come soon enough to watch this game.
I would love to see it. I hope that England can take care of business during that international window in September. You touched on the friendlies against Nigeria that the United States will be participating in on home soil. England against Austria. So hopefully they take care of business against Austria, and then everything sort of goes as planned. But this is just something that just sort of feels like has been kind of in the making for some time. The last meeting between these two already over 2 years in the She Believes Cup. And the teams look a little bit different compared to the last time they faced each other. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. You know, is England going to ride this sort of wave of momentum that they've got right now, is
They do. The rosters do look different, and this also will come, on the heels of the Men's World Cup and
yeah.
United States playing England. They're both in the same group for that game coming, at the end of November in the Men's World Cup. So it's a little bit of competition between the nations on both the men's side and the women's side. The fact that these are coupled right around the same time, just a few weeks or so apart, it'll be exciting. This fall is gonna be very exciting.
Yeah, and I just love that it's like going to be the first time, not just that these two teams have like met each other in a couple years, but this is going to be the first time that they play each other at Wembley, right? So
Yeah,
these are two teams that
huge.
actually have their own respective histories, like at Wembley Stadium, but in like different capacities. So you've got the Lionesses who lifted the Euro Cup in front of that massive crowd at Wembley. You've got the United States women's national team who had that wild run in the Olympics, over 80,000 attending their what was ultimately their gold medal victory in the 2012 Olympics. So it's just like just sort of having these two programs with their own respective histories in this very historic place. Like now they're going to be going head to head
Ooh,
in there. So
chills.
it's exciting. Like that's the kind of stuff that football's supposed to be made of, right? So I'm very excited for the possibility of this match, and hopefully it'll deliver. It's funny to sort of see some of the reactions. All of the social media is already like spitting out as much as they can the Alex Morgan like tea celebration, all of that. Again, there's some. It's almost just sort of like you see the rivalry maybe on the other side of the
Mhm.
ball with England and the United States, and kind of like the Yanks versus
Yeah,
versus England and all that kind of stuff. And it's just it's different when you've got teams who are like kind of in this top 10 ranking
yeah.
going up against each other. I think that's always an added layer of excitement. I don't think the top 10 in a FIFA world ranking has been this competitive in quite some time. Yes, US are number one, and they're the team that is being chased and targeted, and that people want to take down. But even what we saw in the Euros, that it's very evident that you put a top 10 team against the other top team, and on the right day, they can make anything happen. It doesn't matter if it's, 2 versus 6 or 1 versus 8. You just never know. So I'm very, very excited for this. I know everyone out there has a lot of excitement around it as well. And it's nice to sort of get this kind of announcement kind of coming off of this like epic summer of
Yes.
soccer that we just witnessed. And you know what? It's actually not over technically, because the U-20 World Cup is going to be kicking off very, very soon. It's going to be kicking off on August 10th, Wednesday through Sunday, August the 28th, the 10th edition of the U-20 World Cup. Costa Rica, the host in this one for the second time, Lisa.
They definitely are. Japan comes into this tournament as the defending champions of the U-20 World Cup, but pretty quick throughout the month of August. Like we've talked so much about the summer of soccer, and it does continue. And for those that are maybe a little bit unfamiliar with the U-20 team, the U.S. they're in a pot with Nigeria, Spain, and Mexico for this World Cup that'll be in Costa Rica. And for the NWSL fans out there, there are very familiar faces. For those that are really trying to get into the NWSL and the draft and know some names, there's so many incredible collegiate athletes on this roster that you have to take a look at. There will be names in the NWSL draft next year that are on this roster, so keep an eye out for them. Watch these games. But Olivia Moultire, the midfielder from Portland Thorns, she's back on this roster. She's been a namestay for a while. And a new name in the NWSL, Jaedyn Shaw. She is the 17-year-old that recently signed with San Diego Wave FC. She got her first start, first minutes in the NWSL, and she scored her first goal last weekend with San Diego. So just two of the incredible players that are on this roster. The women in the U.S. looking to make a run for it, knock Japan
Yeah.
off that title spot. But that final will be on August 28th, Sunday. So set your calendar, set your alarm. It all starts August 10th for the Women's World Cup U-20.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting time. I love the U World Cups,
Me too.
like 17, 20, like all the opportunities to sort of see all the up and coming talent who have been part of these programs for quite some times, and it's sort of, it feels kind of it feels different. It feels special, it feels unique in the sense where this one's going to kick off, and there are not one but two athletes who have gone pro.
Yeah.
And the two that you just named in Shaw and in Moultrie, and but that's two of the like 23 like players across this roster. So it's a good opportunity for folks maybe who don't typically find themselves able to watch the collegiate game, based on the region or area of the country that you're from. It's a good opportunity to maybe get a look at some, or familiarize with some of the names across this roster. I'm really excited to see Simone Jackson in action, forward out of USC. Quite frankly, someone rumored to potentially be going pro, somewhere down the line herself. Already kind of getting that type of attention. So I definitely looking forward to this one, to take a look and see, if they can, like you said, if they can sort of knock off and then they can become champions of this one again. It's been a long journey back to these types of competitions for the youth programs, due to the ongoing complications with something like COVID-19, and to be able to sort of see these players finally get the chance to to have this moment, it feels special. So I'm excited for it, and I hope we get some really good soccer, between all of the teams in this one. But that's going to be a wrap for us taking a look at the international side of things in our news and notes episodes.